They stole your masculinity, they clipped your claws, and they made you believe it was for your own good. But the brutal truth is, they disarmed you. They stripped you of your power, piece by agonizing piece, until you became a shadow of the man you were meant to be. This isn't some conspiracy theory whispered in dark corners. This is a cold, calculated assault on the very essence of masculine identity, executed with surgical precision over decades. You feel it, don't you? That gnawing emptiness that no amount of fleeting pleasure or digital distraction can fill. That quiet rage simmering beneath the surface. A primal instinct screaming for release, yet constantly suppressed by the demands of a world that insists on your docility. That unsettling sense that something is fundamentally wrong, that the rules of the game have changed, leaving you disoriented and disarmed. This isn't just a feeling, my friend. This is the cry of your masculine soul, choked by the chains of modern society, suffocated by narratives designed to render you impotent. They did this. They weakened you. And the most insidious part? They convinced you to like it. They told you that strength was toxic, that ambition was selfish, that the desire to protect was oppressive. They fed you a steady diet of comfort and complacency, numbing your senses, dulling your edge, until the very idea of being a man, a real man, with all the raw power and responsibility that entails, became something to be ashamed of, something to be apologized for. They replaced the warrior's spirit with the victim's lament, the builder's drive with the consumer's endless craving, the leader's resolve with the follower's desperate need for approval. Look around you. The evidence is not just anecdotal, it's a societal epidemic. Men adrift, without purpose, without direction, chasing fleeting validation in the digital ether. Men afraid to speak their minds, to stand their ground, to defend their values, lest they be labeled, cancelled, or ostracized. They've been conditioned to apologize for their existence, to seek permission for their inherent power, to surrender their innate drive to lead and to protect. This isn't an accident. This is a calculated assault, a silent war waged against the very core of what it means to be a man. And you, my friend, are on the front lines, whether you realize it or not. Your inaction is their victory. Your silence is their triumph. This isn't a self-help video promising quick fixes or feel-good affirmations. This isn't about finding your inner child or embracing your feminine side as a substitute for true masculine power. This is about waking up. This is about ripping off the blindfold and seeing the battlefield for what it truly is. This is about reclaiming what was stolen, not through violence, but through an unyielding commitment to self-mastery, strategic thinking, and the brutal honesty of self-assessment. This is about forging a new path, a path of strength, purpose, and unwavering resolve, because the world needs real men, now more than ever. And if you're ready to fight for your soul, to reclaim your birthright, then listen closely, because the war has already begun, and your survival depends on understanding its rules. Are you ready to hear the truth, or will you turn away like the rest? They lied to you. They sold you a false promise of peace and equality, while systematically dismantling the very foundations of your masculine identity. This wasn't a mistake. It was a strategy, a brutal, insidious campaign to domesticate the wild spirit within every man, to turn lions into lambs and kings into servants. They understood that to control a society, you must first control its men. And to control its men, you must first break their spirit. How did they do it? Let's break down their tactics, because understanding the enemy is the first step to victory. This isn't about blaming. It's about dissecting the mechanisms of your subjugation. First, they demonized your strength. The primal urge to protect, to provide, to conquer, once celebrated as noble virtues, the very pillars upon which civilizations were built, was rebranded as toxic masculinity. They told you that your drive was oppressive, your ambition was selfish, your desire to lead was patriarchal. They shamed you for your natural inclinations, forcing you to suppress the very qualities that make you powerful. They wanted you soft, pliable, easy to control. They wanted you to apologize for your inherent power, making you believe that your strength was a burden, not a gift. They replaced the image of the stoic warrior with the image of the sensitive, emotionally fragile male, constantly seeking validation and perpetually apologetic. This isn't progress, it's castration. Consider the historical figures who commanded respect, not just through brute force, but through an unyielding will and a clear vision. Men like Genghis Khan, who forged an empire from disparate tribes through sheer force of will and strategic brilliance. His strength wasn't just physical, it was a mental fortitude that inspired loyalty and struck fear into his enemies. Modern narratives would attempt to reduce him to a mere barbarian, ignoring the complex leadership and organizational skills required to build such a vast domain. They want you to forget that kind of power is even possible, let alone desirable. They want you to believe that such strength is inherently dangerous, a relic of a bygone era, rather than a timeless, essential component of masculine identity. Second, they feminized your purpose. They replaced the grand narratives of building, exploring, and defending with the trivial pursuits of consumerism and fleeting self-gratification. Your purpose was reduced from shaping the world to merely finding yourself in an endless loop of therapy and introspection, devoid of external achievement. They told you that your worth came from your feelings, not your actions, from your compliance, not your courage. They encouraged you to be nice, to be agreeable, to be safe, effectively stripping you of the edge, the daring, the risk-taking spirit that defines true masculine achievement. They wanted you to be a consumer, not a creator, a follower, not a leader. Think of the great explorers, the inventors, the entrepreneurs who pushed the boundaries of human possibility. Men like Elon Musk, for all his controversies, embodies a relentless drive to build, to innovate, to conquer new frontiers. He faces immense pressure, public scrutiny, and constant challenges, yet he pushes forward. The modern narrative often seeks to diminish such figures, focusing on their flaws rather than their monumental achievements, because their very existence is a threat to the feminized purpose they wish to impose on all men. They want you to believe that such ambition is inherently flawed, rather than a powerful, masculine force for change. They want you to believe that the pursuit of greatness is a fool's errand, when in reality, it is the very essence of masculine fulfillment. Third, they eroded your responsibility. They promoted a culture of victimhood and blame, where personal accountability was replaced by systemic excuses. They told you that your failures were not your fault, but the fault of society, of privilege, of historical injustices. While some of these factors may exist, the relentless focus on external blame disempowers you, stripping you of the agency to change your circumstances. They wanted you to be dependent, to be a perpetual child, always looking for someone else to solve your problems, always waiting for permission to act. They wanted you to believe that true strength lies in identifying as a victim, rather than in overcoming adversity. Consider the Stoic philosophers, like Marcus Aurelius, who emphasized personal responsibility and self-mastery above all else. He understood that while external events are often beyond our control, our reaction to them is always within our power. The modern narrative, however, seeks to strip you of this power, to convince you that you are merely a product of your environment, a helpless pawn in a game you cannot win. This is a lie designed to keep you weak, to keep you compliant, to keep you from realizing your true potential. But the truth, like a bullet, always finds its mark, and it's time you felt its impact. You felt the sting of their lies. You've seen the chains they've forged around your spirit. Now, it's time to break them. This is the awakening. This is where you reject the domesticated male they tried to create and reclaim the untamed power that lies dormant within you. This isn't about becoming a brute. It's about becoming a man of purpose, a man of honor, a man who commands respect because he has earned it. The first step in this awakening is to reclaim your primal strength. They told you physical strength was unnecessary, even barbaric. They told you that the mind was all that mattered, while your body atrophied. This is a lie. Your body is your temple, your first line of defense, and a direct reflection of your discipline and will. Look at the old-school mafiosos, men like Vito Genovese or Carlo Gambino. They weren't just thinkers. They were men who carried themselves with a physical presence that demanded respect. They understood that a strong body houses a strong mind, and that a man who cannot control his own physical form cannot truly control his destiny. Start training, lift heavy, push your limits, not for vanity, but for the raw, undeniable power it instills in your spirit. Feel the iron in your hands, the burn in your muscles. This isn't just exercise, it's a declaration of war against weakness. Next, you must reforge your purpose. They tried to steal your ambition, to replace your grand visions with trivial distractions. But a man without purpose is a ship without a rudder, adrift in a sea of mediocrity. Your purpose is your compass, your reason for being, the fire that fuels your drive. Think of men like Meyer Lansky, the mob's accountant. He wasn't just a gangster, he was a visionary, a strategic genius who built an international criminal empire. His purpose was clear: power, wealth, and control. He didn't get lost in fleeting pleasures. He was relentlessly focused on his objectives. What is your objective? What legacy do you want to build? What problem do you want to solve? Find that burning desire, that singular goal that consumes your thoughts, and dedicate yourself to it with an unyielding ferocity. This isn't about chasing happiness. It's about pursuing meaning, because meaning is the bedrock of masculine fulfillment. Then, you must re-establish your code of honor. They tried to tell you that honor was outdated, that integrity was a weakness, that loyalty was for fools. This is the most dangerous lie of all. A man without a code is a man without a soul, easily swayed, easily broken. Think of the concept of omerta, the code of silence, of loyalty, of unwavering commitment to one's word. While its application in the criminal underworld is dark, the underlying principle of an unbreakable code, of a man whose word is his bond, is a powerful masculine virtue. Your honor is your currency. Your integrity is your shield. Your loyalty to your chosen few is your strength. Live by a code that you define, a code that reflects the man you aspire to be, and never, ever compromise it. Let your actions be your testament, not your words. Finally, you must reclaim your responsibility. They tried to make you a victim, to absolve you of your agency. But true power lies in ownership. Ownership of your actions, your failures, your successes, and your destiny. This is the core of what it means to be a man. To take responsibility, not just for yourself, but for those under your care. Think of the patriarchs, the leaders who carried the weight of their families, their communities, their organizations on their shoulders. They didn't make excuses, they made decisions. They didn't seek pity, they sought solutions. Embrace the burden of responsibility, for it is in carrying that weight that you will find your true strength. It is in taking ownership that you will become the master of your own fate. This isn't a gentle suggestion. It's a brutal command. The domesticated male dies here. The true man rises. You've got your armor. Now you need your strategy. Because in this war, brute force alone won't cut it. You need the Mafia mindset. Cold, calculating, and always 2 steps ahead. This isn't about being a thug. It's about being a strategist, a master manipulator of circumstances, a silent architect of your own destiny. Let's talk about the art of perception. They want to define you. They want to label you. Don't let them. You control your narrative. As Machiavelli famously stated, it is much safer to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. This isn't about being a tyrant, but about projecting an aura of competence, control, and quiet authority. Your appearance, your posture, your words, they are all weapons in the war of perception. Don't dress for the job you have. Dress for the job you want, the empire you are building. Don't speak like a victim. Speak like a man who commands attention, whose words carry weight. When you walk into a room, let your presence fill it. Let your silence speak volumes. Make them wonder what you know, what you're capable of. Make them respect you before you even open your mouth. Think of a figure like John Gotti. For all his flaws, he understood the power of image, of projecting an aura of invincibility and control. He was always impeccably dressed, always composed, always radiating a sense of power that transcended his actual words. You don't need to be a criminal. But you need to understand that perception is reality in the eyes of the world. And speaking of silence, you must master the power of indifference. They want your reaction. They crave your emotional response. Don't give it to them. Think of the stoic resolve of a seasoned capo who remains calm and unreadable even in the face of chaos. When someone disrespects you, when they try to provoke you, your silence is your deadliest weapon. It says, "You are beneath my response. Your words carry no weight. Your existence does not warrant my energy." This isn't about being cold. It's about being untouchable. It's about protecting your inner kingdom from the petty squabbles of those who seek to drag you down. A man like Lucky Luciano, a master of strategy, understood that emotional outbursts were a weakness. He operated with a cool detachment, letting others make mistakes while he observed and planned. Your emotional control is your ultimate shield against their attempts to destabilize you. Furthermore, you must build your network, your family. No man conquers alone. Even the most powerful crime lords understood the importance of loyalty and alliances. Surround yourself with men who elevate you, who challenge you, who share your vision. Cut out the dead weight, the energy vampires, the weak links. As the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose your circle wisely. These are the men who will stand with you when the world turns against you. These are the men who will help you build your empire. Think of the tightly knit structure of a crime family, each member playing a crucial role, bound by loyalty and a shared purpose. While your family may not be bound by blood or crime, the principle of a strong, supportive network is universal for any man seeking to build something significant. And never forget to know your enemy and know yourself. Sun Tzu's timeless wisdom is as relevant today as it was centuries ago. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. Understand the narratives they push, the weaknesses they exploit, the traps they set. But more importantly, understand your own strengths, your own weaknesses, your own limits. Don't fight every battle. Choose your wars wisely. Conserve your energy for the fights that truly matter. Be strategic, be patient, be relentless. The greatest generals, like the greatest crime bosses, understood that victory often comes not from direct confrontation, but from superior intelligence and strategic positioning. They didn't rush into battle. They waited for the opportune moment when the odds were stacked in their favor. This isn't just advice. It's a survival guide in a world designed to break you. Are you listening, or are you already defeated? The choice is yours. The war is raging. You can continue to be a pawn in their game, a domesticated man, stripped of purpose and power, living a life of quiet desperation. You can watch your soul wither, your legacy crumble, and your masculinity reduced to a pathetic caricature. You can see your family without a true leader, your potential unfulfilled, your spirit broken. You can accept the emasculation they've imposed, becoming another statistic in the silent war against men. Or you can fight. You can rise. You can reclaim the empire that is rightfully yours. This isn't just about you. This is about the men who came before you, who fought and bled for the right to be strong, to be free, to be men. This is about the men who will come after you, who will look to you for guidance, for strength, for an example of what a real man truly is. Your ancestors, the warriors, the builders, the leaders, they are watching. Your descendants, the future generations, they are depending on you. Reject the weakness they sold you. Reject the comfort that numbs you. Reject the narratives that seek to castrate you. Embrace the responsibility, the discipline, the purpose, and the honor that define true masculinity. Forge your armor. Adopt the Mafia mindset. Become the man who commands respect, who protects his family, who builds his legacy. The man they fear and admire. The man you were born to be. The time for excuses is over. The time for action is now. The war has begun. What will you do? Will you continue to sleepwalk through a life designed by others, or will you seize the reins of your own destiny? Will you be a victim of circumstance, or the architect of your own empire? The clock is ticking, and every second you hesitate is a victory for those who seek to keep you down. If you're ready to fight, if you're ready to reclaim your power, then join us. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. Because this isn't just a community. This is a brotherhood. This is your army. We are building a legion of men who refuse to be broken, who refuse to be silenced, who refuse to surrender their masculine birthright. The world needs real men, and you, my friend, are one of them. Wake up, fight back, reclaim your empire.